Okay, good morning to everyone. Now we are going to see a subject called research methodology, and I am DIVYARANJANI from Amet Business School, Amet. So this is my first session. Today we are going to see what is the research, what is the methodology, how we are going to carry out the problem. So in research methodology, generally we say research is nothing but a search for knowledge. Search for knowledge is nothing but when we are going to do a rework or redesign or a remodification, it will be concentrated on research methodology. See, for example, if I am going to calculate what is the production rate of a car for past 5 years, then it is already available data. Now I am going to do carry out with my rework which is already done. So that is a type of research. A methodology is nothing but a statistical tool which is going to give you a numerical value to prove whether it is right or wrong. So research methodology is nothing but it is a search for knowledge. With respect to, we have a scientific and systematic research where a production industry or any type of industry which is going to do a work for finding some problem or finding a conclusion for a problem with respect to a scientific and systematic search. For example, if we say an academic activity like Amet, if it is going to have some problem and we are going to arrive for a solution by using the past collection of details, where it is already available, we are going to pick up the details and we are going to make out with the research. So for technical issues also, this type of research is carried out. So it is according to Clifford O.D., it is said that it comprises of defining and redefining a problem. That is, defining and redefining comes under what is the problem, how is the problem, and what is the solution for the problem, which is done for defining and redefining. And formulating an hypothesis and suggested solution is a mathematical value which is going to give you an exact information how the problem is arranged and what is the solution for the problem. And for arriving at hypothesis, we need to collect the data and evaluate the data. So how do you collect the data? A collection of data through a samples we are going to see, which will be seen in the next part. Then making deductions and researching conclusion. That is, after arriving at the solution, we are going to perfectly make an order how the problem is started and what is the solution for the problem and what are the suggestive measures. And at last, it is going to be concluded through how it has been fitted in a project report. So the next one is, we are going to see the objectives. So in objectives, it is like to gain familiarity with the phenomenon to achieve new insight on it. That is, we are going to make a known sources or from the unknown sources to the known sources. For example, if it is like I call it as like Alto 800, it has been a new version of Maruti 800 and Sandro which has been disappeared. So what is the reason of it? Then I am going to find it. So it is a known or to gain familiarity on a phenomenon. For example, for subjective issues. Why Alto 800 has existed, not Maruti 800? Then what is the solution? What is the problem? Why it has changed from that? So in order to identify that, I'll go for my research work. To portray accurately characteristics of particular individual. So what is the cause of Alto 800 instead of Maruti 800? And what is the situation or a group in which my calculation of a research is carried out? And then I need to determine the frequency on how far the product is going to be existed and why there is a change or why there is a drift from the first product to the second product. And then I need to test my hypothesis through a relationship details. For example, if I am going to conduct a research, what does a research means? The economic survey of Kanathur people, how I am going to have the economic status of people living in different class of level. If I am going to do it, I need to gain my familiarity of my product or who is the customer or who is the respondents, and from the respondents how I am going to gain a knowledge. Then after the knowledge is gained, how it has been framed. Then I will portray what are the characteristics of each and every individual in which they are figured out, and then I determine my frequency, whether their data is correct or wrong, or whether it is in a biased situation. Then I need to calculate my mathematical value through the hypothesis, how it has been framed. Then I am moving on to my type of research. So till now we just saw what is a research and what are the objectives of research. A research is nothing but a search of a knowledge or a rework or a redesign or a remodification with already available data, how we are going to arrive with a new solution. And the type of research will give you different types of calculations with respect to a type in which a research is framed. So the first one is descriptive and analytical, or descriptive versus analytical research. So what is descriptive research? A descriptive research is a detailed form of a research work which is carried out by a questioner or a people. For example, when a research is done through survey or fact findings or some inquiries or any other questionnaire type, then it is said to be a descriptive research. If I am going to conduct a feedback, what is the feedback for all to 800 and the performance level, then automatically it comes under descriptive research, where my respondents give the suggestions, measures, and it will be in a perfect mathematical value where I arrive at. And if I say it is going to be like an ex post facto research, that is, according to the research work, the questionnaire design is over, the questionnaire part is given, and after the questionnaire part or after the survey part, my measure of data is being calculated, and then I am arriving to the solution. That is ex post facto research. When my research is going to carry out with this, automatically it is called descriptive research. What are the main characteristics of this method? Then a researcher has no control over the variable. That is, here whatever the data has been collected, it has to be resembled as it is. Otherwise, it will be in a duplication of a research work. Again, I need to do my research when the product or the result will show me a negative. So it should be having a proper research where whatever has been researched, it has to be shown off. Otherwise, it will be a flaw or it should be a rework process. So there is no control over the variables, and he is having a happening solution of the product. For example, what has happened and what will happen and what will be the solution can be imagined, and according to that, my particular work can be carried out. So in this method, we have a descriptive research as a survey method in all kinds. So whatever it may be, based on their industry or based on any other type of research, the particular work can be carried out. This is called descriptive. Whereas analytical research, it is based on only a literature survey or any theory based on previous experiences. Whatever it may be, which is furnished in a website or a journal or a newspapers or a magazine, where the results are collected from that, and it is only viewed in a theoretical format. It is not done through any surveys, any questionnaire or any feedback format. It is generally theoretical format where I am going to see how it has been framed and how it has been resulted. It is in written format or in a paper format where my result has been under the discretion of a researcher itself. The third one is applied and fundamental. The applied and fundamental, where we talk about an industrial basis or business organization in which what the real problem they are facing, according to their problem, will give a solution. On the spot problem, why the strike has been happened, or what is the logout section of the problem, or why the problem has been taken continuously, and what can be the solution. For then and there, the problem is arised, a solution is given. That is applied research. Whereas my fundamental research, it is purely based on a generalization and formulation of theories, where I will just make my policies, objectives, rules, and I'll just follow it for a 1 year. And I'll find what is the flaw in my policy, why my faculties or my respondents are not following. Then I'll just make other objectives, other rules and other policies for the next coming years. So this is type of research is called fundamental research, which is based purely on generalization and formulation of theory. So both of them has an equal importance. Here it will be faced a problem when a real-time solution will be given, whereas over here it will take a time to form a solution. The next one is quantitative and qualitative. So quantitative is based on quantity or amount. That is, how many people are there, according to them what is the problem and why the problem is being arised. For example, if I am going to do a research in Amet, so how many students are studying in Amet and which department is having a problem and what is the population of the particular department and who are the samples for me for the particular problem. So I will be doing on that area, then it is called quantitative research. Otherwise, qualitative based on the phenomena in which involving quality of a kind. What are the characteristics, attitude, features of the students in which they respond, why the problem is arised, why there is a fight. Then if I am going to find it in that way, it becomes a qualitative. A qualitative with the consent of characteristics or inequality, whereas for quantitative, which depends on only a number in huge or in what number it is, like quantity. The next one is conceptual and empirical. The conceptual research is based on the abstract ideas. So what is my idea? Why the particular research is carried out? If I am going to do a research near Mayajan, how many in Kanathur, how many people are coming regularly? If it is my research, then this is my conceptual research, because there is already a solution, already there is a problem for a perfect solution, where I just do an abstract for the idea, or I just make out a explanation study in which conceptual research will take care. Whereas my empirical research will be done for upcoming with my conclusion for the problems which is already there, like Alto 800. The Mark 800 is being disappeared and Alto 800 has appeared. So what is the solution? Where the solution was already available with the company, where I will just frame out to the outside world what was the problem. So when I am going to do that, then that is called empirical research. It is focusing on already problem is there, and for that problem the solution is already available and it is readily shown to the environmental structure, then that is called empirical. Whereas conceptual is showing the abstract idea or the story narration which is already a solution is there. The next one is the other types of research which I am going to find is one-time research or longitudinal research. What is one-time research? A research which is done for people for one-time conclusion alone. If it is like Kanathur survey, it is repeatedly I should do for year to year. But if it is going to be a Mayajan, it should be done for a year to year. If it is going to be a steep with Amet or Amet, it is going to be a single time period where my research is going to happen for one single time and my research will be concluded there itself. So after that it will be done after 5 years. So there will be gap for my work and where the researches are already can be done after 5 years only. So it is called one-time research. So it is like in the former case of research, it is confined to single time period, where later the researcher can be carried out for over several time periods. So the several time periods indicates after 5 years. Next is field setting research. A field setting research or a laboratory research which is based on society benefit research. When we say any type of research, it should be in an environment, society, and it should be in a cultural format. So field setting research is based on the environmental research, where it will implicate on the environment basis how the environment is there. For example, if I am going to have some study with respect to rain or a winter or any type of season variations, my field setting research or a laboratory research will take care of putting my environmental case study and doing with respect to that the problem will be analyzed. For example, what will be happen in the next 5 days, the weather report. If I am going to study that, it is called field setting research. Then a clinical or a diagnostic research in which we have a case study method. That is, the students will be explained with the already problem available within the case, and for that what type of solution can be given with respect to case study for kindling the action or for kindling the knowledge about the problem. For example, in-depth approaches, a basic casual relations can be carried out. For example, if I am going to study why the strike was happened in L&T Infosys after 5 years or before 5 years which was happened, after 5 years I am going to have a discussion with my students, then that is called clinical or diagnostic research, and implied with that result I am going to apply for the next type of strike which has been happened recently. So that type of solution can be given by the clinical and diagnostic research by finding the solution which has already appeared before or a few days back. Then it is like conclusion oriented and decision oriented. In conclusion oriented, this particular research is confined to only a basic of how it is going to have an end stage. That is, any problem which is going to have, this is the solution, that's all. If I want to finish it off, it is called conclusion oriented. Decision oriented takes care of how the problem is arised, why the problem is taken down, and how the problem is solved. When I am going to have a step-step process, then it is called decision oriented. When if I am going to take as it is and I am going to conclude as it is, then it is called conclusion oriented. So one-time research, Field setting research, clinical research and conclusion oriented research are the other types, where we are going to have two different types of research called exploratory research, and my historical research will be a basic research in all the classification. That is, my exploratory research will be like a development of hypothesis rather than testing. For example, if I am going to do whatever the problem it is going to be having a solution. But that solution will be in a mathematical value like zeros and ones. Then automatically it is called development of hypothesis. That type of testing will come under my exploratory research. Whereas my historical research, it is purely based on theoretical review or a literature review, where according to the past data, I am going to give the solution for my research. Where these two alone will play a very important role in my research. The next one is a research process, which we are going to see how the process is carried out in research. That is, if my question is, what is the economic survey or economic status of Kanathur, I am going to conduct a survey. How should be my research? The first one is, I need to formulate my research. How do I formulate my research? A research can be formulated according to the nature and relationship with the details. For example, what is the nature of research in economic survey of Kanathur? Is the people who are involved in all class of people, and what is the relationship they have between each class of people. When I am going to talk about that, then that comes under the category of formulating my research problem. Next is extensive literature survey. That is, this type of literature survey will be carried only for two different categories. One is theoretical, the other one is through the methodology wise. The theoretical is concept where it is the analyzation of past data like 10 years or 15 years of details with respect to Kanathur survey, which is already happened or already taken by any other researchers, and I will just study my detail and I will just make the solution for each and every year separately, and then I will carry out my research in my methodology to arrive the solution, and I will compare my theoretical analysis and my methodology survey giving the same or there is a difference. It is called extensive literature survey. Then how do I develop my hypothesis? The hypothesis testing is nothing but it is just an assumption of my data. Wherever I go, I will just assume these people are giving my solution for the problem which I have. So when I state what is their reason and how do they feel about their how do they feel about their economic living, and what is their way of economic living, if I am going to find it, and if I am going to arrive with the data, it is called developing of hypothesis. Then I need to prepare the research design. So how do I prepare my research design? A research design is basically prepared through how it is going to explorate, how it is going to be descriptive in my analysis, how I am going to diagnose my solution, how I am going to evaluate my solution. So it is basically explorate, descriptive, analyze and diagnose my solution, which my research design will take care. Where the particular data will be analyzed properly and a mathematical value will be carried out, and this mathematical value will be gone under many comparison, where my hypothesis testing will give me some assumption of data and my research design will give me a comparative analysis with my hypothesis data. Then I need to do my sampling design. So what is my sample I should take? So before knowing about my sample, I need to know what is the population. So population is nothing but the entire Amet, if I am going to take, it is population. By entire Amet student, if I am going to take the all departments, whatever the department which is available in Amet, and the entire students who are present in the Amet on particular event or on conducting a research, the entire thing will be called as population, whereas sample is the portion from my population will be a sample. So how do I determine my sample design? If I am going to do it for one department alone, in that department how many classes are there, in a class how many students are there, and how many students are male, female, how many students are from inside country, that are our country and other countries, and other state and our state, like that it will be differentiated, and my sample design will be carried out in a clear-cut way which gives us a clear idea how my design is calculated and how the particular question is raised out to the students or the particular respondent, and how the collection of details will be given. Then my collecting the data or the collection of data method, which will involve in two different categories. One is primary data collection, the second one is secondary data collection. The primary data collection is nothing but where my particular data is collected through questionnaire or schedules or through interview or through observation, then it is called primary data collection. There is my secondary data collection which is involved in newspaper findings or any other literature findings, like for example through journals or from websites or through any newspapers. If my details are collected, automatically which will fall under the category of secondary data. Usually when I do a research through economic survey and all, automatically which comes under collection of data. Collection of data will come under primary data of major position, and secondary data where my previous data collection from past 5 years or past 10 years which has been formalized, and where this particular formulation will be given up some solution. That solution will be made as a hypothesis for my comparison result, and then I'll do my research carried out through any observation or any questionnaire or any interview, and that particular data will be framed for my hypothesis testing, where my statistical tool will be involved to arrive my mathematical value. That is collection of data. Then execution of the project will be done for editing, coding and tabulation. How do I edit my work? How do I code my work? And how do I tabulate? So what is the meaning of editing? Whatever the position or wherever I have collected, it will be fed in the system. After that, I need to edit it in a arranged from ascending order, where it is collected, how it is collected, and whether it is required or not. So all filtering process will be done in editing process. And then I need to keep some coding. For example, if it is more people are satisfied, I will give X, and dissatisfied, I will give double X. For neutral, I will give triple X. So like that, I will give a coding part. So according to the coding part, I will differentiate my values, and then it will be fed up into the tabulation. So my execution of the project will be having a category of editing, tabulation and coding. Then analysis of data. How do I analyze my data? The analysis of data will be involved in putting my data into a refined part of review. That is, after arriving my hypothesis, before hypothesis has arrived, I have gone for literature survey. So what is the solution from the literature survey, and what is the assumption details from my hypothesis, and how do I carry out my research design, and what is the mathematical value from the collection of data. All things will be under my analysis of data. So the entire project review will be done in my analyzation part. The analyzation of data clearly gives you what is your problem, how the problem is started, how the problem is going to be solved, and what is my type of research in which I am going to take it, and then I am going to find it. For example, here we have seen many types of research like descriptive, analytical, applied, fundamental, quantitative, qualitative, conceptual, empirical, like that. So with respect to these types, I am going to find what type of research I am going to find it. Generally, if I am going to say the question economic survey of Kanathur, then automatically it comes under my descriptive research, since my particular research is having my survey content, where I am going to use my survey type with respect to questionnaire or interview or schedules or any type of collection from the people. So that particular research is called my descriptive research, which is going to come under my type of research of researching problem, and I am going to find my design whether it should be a straight or it should be a stratified, or whether it should be a random or a clustering or a systematic. So which we are going to see in the second part. So this is the first thing, the analyzation of data is carried out. In hypothesis testing, where the statistical tool is involved, for example, a correlation, regression, man-made test, or some other test which has been conducted for my research, where this particular research will give me a comparison result from literature survey, my hypothesis and my collection of data, through which my hypothesis testing will be carried out, which will come with mathematical report, where I am going to have a pure clear-cut idea where is my result, whether it is a positive or is a negative oriented. Then the next one is generalization and interpretation, where my complete report will be framed, like how the main page, how the title page, how it should be concluded, and where and all my references cited. Everything will be mentioned in generalization and interpretation. And at last, a preparation of a report or a presentation of my report is based on my any type of PPT or any visual presentation, it will be carried out. So the first one is formulation, literature and hypothesis, research design, sample design, collection of data, execution of the project, analysis of data, hypothesis testing, generalization and interpretation, and my preparation of report. Then we are going to see this particular diagram with respect to our research process. Here, can you see this? Defining a research problem. So this is what I said to you, where the research problem will be carried out with two different categories, that is with respect to nature and relationship between variables. So with nature is nothing but where and when I am doing my research. And with relationship, who are my respondents and what is their relationship status with my particular topic. So this will be my research problem. And then review of literature will have two concepts. The first concept is concepts and theories with respect to literature survey or theoretical framework with collection of data for last 5 years or last 10 years like that. Then my review process with respect to research finding, that is all the present findings, what is my research, how I am going to collect it. So that will be my research findings. So review of literature is classified into two categories, concepts, theories and my research findings. Then formulate my hypothesis, where my hypothesis is being assumed and what is my assumption, and that assumption is being framed in different steps. Then my design research or research design, which will be carried out with exploratory, descriptive and diagnosis and my explanative part. So where my design research or research design will be carried out. And then my collection of data, where I involve primary data, secondary data, where primary data will have the execution part with respect to observation, schedules, questionnaire or interviews like that, which I have already explained you. And then the analysis part, where I said you, where statistical tools like regression and regression correlation or non-minute test, ANOVA for like that, which will be used for differentiating the variables or factor analysis, the use analysis of hypothesis. The last one is how the particular details is collectively framed in one report and how should be the report. That will be my interpreted and analysis report. Whereas the feedback control will have design research to my test hypothesis. Wherever I collect my research, that particular research will implicate with my mathematical value. That mathematical value is nothing but my hypothesis testing. And then this particular report, wherever I completed with the entire report with main test, formulation test and title page, everything, that will be comprised with my feedback report, which will give me a clear-cut idea how I collected my report and how it is being framed. So I am going to explain you in detail how it is going to be carried out. So the formulation of research problem, it is nothing but which is going to relate nature and relationship between variables, which I explained you how it is going to be done. The second one, in literature survey, we are going to talk about two different categories, what it is like theory based and findings based. Then development of hypothesis, which is going to have clear terms of working hypothesis or a particular literature survey in which I am going to find it from. Then preparing of research design, where my prepared research design, which is respect to a clear-cut idea, where the exploration, description, my diagnosis, experimentation will come under my statistical tools. And then I have my experimental design and formal design for my two different categories of experimental and non-experimental hypothesis. How do I frame it? So to detail study the experimental design, we have an informal design and formal design. So what is the informal design? Without knowing about the sources, I generally go to the Kanathur people and I will just do an inquiry, and after coming from that particular place, I will do a research with my known sources, how the Kanathur people, whether it is a biased solution or not biased solution. Then if I am going to do in that way, it is called informal designs. Whether the people or the questioner which is going to be involved directly without knowing about the particular characters and attitude of the people, he is going to collect the details. After that, he is going to have a second research, what was the people, whether the people's result is biased or not. That is informal design. Whereas formal design, we are completely analyzing about the particular area, how is the Kanathur people, what is about the Kanathur's people's locations and the particular attitude, characters and all, and then I am just going to carry out my research. So this will be my formal design. And determining my sample design, after that I will be moving on to my second part in the next section.